morning and welcome everybody. Thanks for coming out this morning. It is my pleasure this morning to introduce one of our 2025 summer museum interns. This is Blake Pottebaum. He's been with us for a couple months, has a couple weeks to go, and he is our presenter this morning, and he's going to talk to you about some research he's been doing related to old Sears Roebuck's catalogs and some of the artifacts in the collection. And I'm not even 100% sure where we're going with this, but I think it's going to be exciting. And we were kind of teasing our young interns that they missed the good old days of the catalog coming in the mail where you turn page to page and you dog ear or mark the pages of all the things you were interested in. Because, you know, they can swipe on their phones, but they can't dog ear that. So let's see what Blake has for us this morning.
All right, thanks, Treva. So good morning, everyone. My topic for today is called Sears Throughout the Years, in which I'll be explaining my Sears catalog-themed exhibit that I've been working on here during my internship at the Pipestone County Museum. I'll also be providing a history of the Sears company, and I'll be highlighting some of the more interesting items I found in the collection that you could have ordered through a Sears catalog. So why Sears catalogs, you might ask? Well, my inspiration for this topic came when I was looking through artifacts in the museum's attic, and I started to see little boxes and containers of just everyday household items, anything from food items like coffee or tea to more unique things like skin cream and laxatives. And that reminded me of the wide range of products that were available to consumers through mail order catalogs, which I learned about from my time in college. I talked to Noah, the collections manager here at the museum, about being interested in covering catalogs, and he directed me to a reproduction 1902 Sears and Roebuck catalog that we had in the museum's collection. And I began to use that catalog as a guide, and I pored over about every single page of it, and I found it incredibly interesting. And I found a surprising amount of items in storage that were either directly or closely match items in the catalog, or items that you could have gotten from similar catalogs throughout the years. Hold on, bear with me. I just printed these off and they're sticking together. There we go. Oh yes, and then this is my display case. It's a work in progress, and the range of items that it covers is from the early to mid-1900s. So I'll start with the history of the Sears Company. So these are the founders, Richard Warren Sears and Alva Curtis Roebuck. And at the age of 22, Richard Sears worked at a railway company, and he came across a shipment of unwanted gold watches. And he thought he would make sort of a side hustle by buying this shipment out and selling them to his fellow railway workers for $14 a piece, which he got about $2 of profit per watch. And this was rather successful, and in 1887, after making enough money to quit his job at the railway company, he moved to Chicago to start selling watches full-time. It was here that he met Alva Roebuck, who was a self-taught watchmaker, and he heard about him through the Chicago Daily newspaper. Roebuck had Sears buy him out, and he gave his name to the company, which was then Sears Roebuck and Company. By 1888, the first Sears and Roebuck catalog was produced, but it only had a couple pages and was just watches and jewelry items. However, over the following years, the catalog would expand greatly, and it would include over 1,000 pages with over 100,000 items. And these items included anything from tools, hardware, clothes, appliances, sporting goods, and entertainment items. Sears would quickly become one of the nation's largest retail chains, and they opened their first brick-and-mortar store in 1925 in Chicago. Sears would also bring about many popular brands that are still around today, like Craftsman Tools and Kenmore Appliances. And in 1973, the Sears Tower in Chicago became the headquarters for the company, and it was the tallest building in the world at the time. This success wouldn't last forever, though. Due to a loss of profits from stores that were competitors with Sears and Roebuck, like Walmart and Target, and due to an inability to get a foothold in online sales, Sears started to lose money. And in 1993, the Sears catalog ceased production. in the early 2000s, over half of their nearly 500 physical locations were forced to be shut down throughout the U.S. And in 2009, the Sears Tower was renamed the Willis Tower. And finally, in 2018, after nearly 132 years of business, Sears was forced to file for bankruptcy. Now I'll go over some of the things I found in museums' collections that could have been found in catalogs. Drugs and medicine took up a large portion of the Sears catalog, and one such medical item I came across was Dr. Kilmer's swamp root. Swamp root was sort of a home remedy that was created in the 1870s and was made with various herbs, roots, and it contained over 10% alcohol. It was advertised to heal various organs in the body, and was also said to be a diuretic and mild laxative. However, its healing properties weren't backed by science, and it would largely be considered a snake oil or a placebo by today's standards. And this was before the Pure Food and Drug Act of 1906, so there weren't as strict restrictions on the types of medications that could be sold. The Sears and Roebuck catalog made it a point to appeal to all Americans, both urban and rural, so it makes sense that firearms had their own section in the Sears catalog. One firearm I found was this Winchester shotgun. This model 1897 shotgun was incredibly popular at the time for hunting and sport shooting, and this model featured various barrel lengths and sold for around $18 in the 1902 Sears catalog. This was a premium price for a gun at the time, which was a result of the reputation that Winchester Repeating Arms had for quality firearms. And there were no background checks in 1902, so I found it fascinating that you could have a gun shipped to your door through the mail with no paperwork required whatsoever. And this is, of course, a far cry from how this works today. The catalogs also attempted to appeal to many hobbies, one of which was music. Many different musical instruments could be ordered through the catalogs at varying price points. One musical instrument I found was this Hohner brand accordion. Hohner was a German brand dating back to the 1880s and, and began being sold in the Sears catalog in 1908. A model like this one would have been sold for around $3, which was a rather competitive price point, and this was due to the combination of bronze and steel reeds that were used to make the accordion, whereas most accordions used steel reeds at the time. In the early 20th century, typewriters were becoming a more common household item, and more people were finding a need for them outside of just office work. However, these early writing machines, as they were called at the time, could be quite expensive, costing as much as $100 in 1902, which would be around the equivalent to $3,700 today. However, as time went on, typewriters became much more affordable, and this Corona typewriter, made in 1917, was a popular choice and sold for $50. Additionally, many accessories could be purchased through the catalogs for typewriters, including ink ribbons and these Remtico brand typewriter cushion keys that I found in the collection. Finally, one interesting thing I came across while researching was that starting in 1908, Sears began selling houses. You would simply pick the model you wanted from the catalog, including any amenities, order it, and within a few weeks, a train car would arrive, including all the components you needed, including pre-cut lumber. These houses were advertised to be honor-built, claiming that they used the best materials and building techniques. This advertisement includes the Model 118 house, which was very popular in 1908, and it was 2 stories tall with an attic and featured 9 rooms, and it cost just under $2,900, which the catalog claims that it would have costed you over $4,000 if you bought it anywhere else. Sears would end up selling over 70,000 homes through mail order between 1908 and when they stopped in 1940 due to the outbreak of World War II. And that is all I have. Are there any questions? Yeah.
Well, I'm just curious about the homes. Do you know if there's any in Pipestone that were Sears homes?
I am not sure. I would like to have researched it. I didn't have as much time to research it, but I would not be surprised if there was. I know that in my hometown, just looking through the catalogs, I recognized some houses that were very, very similar, if not the exact same.
Okay.
Well, back when my kids were little, one Christmas I ordered
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was easier than trying to shop for all the things because there were different items. Yeah. Do you suppose because railroad and mail were more prevalent than anything else to get from place to place is why they were so successful?
Yeah, I would say so.
I'm just sitting here thinking, off my head here.
Yeah, I would say so because the decline of the catalog happened when online stores became more prevalent, and
The actually written, the store itself became to the community.
yeah.
The
Any more?
background on the Sears, were they from the Midwest? Were they born and raised? Or did you say that already?
Richard Sears was born in Minnesota, and then Alva Roebuck, I believe, is from Indiana. So,
Yeah.
yep.
So it's Midwest.
Thank you.
Thanks, Blake.
Thank you.